Hi, it's Uncle Bear, and it is week 12 of my project, my first project on Patreon, being hosted there. Take Heart, Make Hearth, Get Cozy, experiments with embracing winter, even though right now it's like 60 something degrees in Chicago, but don't be fooled, it's still winter in Chicago. Don't know where you are, but it's still winter time. And not feeling so crappy, which is one of the biggest parts of this first project. And that's going to be a part of the second, third, fourth, whatever projects I do. Not feeling so crappy. This week's topic and theme is one that I resisted doing. So I've been avoiding this, resisting it practically this whole time. And it's one of my core values. And it's courage. 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 So by courage, I mean being anxious, resistant, afraid, fearful, and doing, being, creating, anyhow. I think one of the reasons why I've been resisting this theme, this topic, is that in COVID times, wow, the thought of wrangling with courage just has not seemed like a particularly attractive idea. It has seemed the opposite. The runaway part, of things, the just trying to get through. And this vulnerability is a central part of courage, because courage really means that you do feel scared and freaked out, and you still do create whatever the thing is, because you're invested in it. It matters to you. It's important. You care about it. Something inside of you is calling to go towards this area that you are afraid of, and you want to jump off the cliff. So one of the most important things I know about courage is that time of like chasing your tail and running around on the edge of the cliff, all that energy, that huge amount of energy of anxiety, fear, and resistance, courage, once you leap, so much of that energy goes away and gets channeled into finding your wings, finding your balance, and moving towards the thing that you choose. So courage is all of that. Courage is climbing up to the cliff, hanging out on the cliff edge for God knows how long. Should I, shouldn't I? I'm scared. Do. And then jumping, leaping. And sometimes leaping, screaming. Sometimes screaming as you fly off the cliff. And sometimes with joy, which is wild to think that you can jump off the cliff with joy. With joy. There are many things that make up that moment of courage, that moment of saying yes radically to yourself, to your boundaries, your needs, your values, saying yes to your dreams and inspirations, because that's what courage is, really. And it's saying no to things that are not in alignment with who you are. Courage is stopping things, having good boundaries that you need to walk away from. Courage is taking that moment and taking the breath into your good, beautiful being and saying, even though I don't know how this is going to turn out, I'm going to do it anyhow. Impermanence is the only game in town, so it's funny that we think in our anxiety and worry and resistance, What are we thinking? That we're going to avoid impermanence? The illusion of security is so thick and so entrancing and intoxicating that we like convince ourselves that if we don't risk, if we aren't courageous, we're going to be safe. That's not safety. I'm not advocating that you risk and are courageous willy-nilly. Use your prefrontal cortex, use your logic skills to kind of suss out the best options, the probabilities. Make educated decisions about how you want to move and change in your life consciously. Right? And at the end of the day, it is a leap of faith. It's about trust or the lack thereof. You might not even trust that you have wings and you're going to fly once you get off that cliff. But something in you understands that the cost of staying, the cost of continuing without taking the risk is going to harm you even more. They say that the worst regrets are things that you didn't do. Well, that's a huge part of courage. The things that you have not allowed yourself to be, to do, to create. It's taken me all day to get here in front of this video to make this for today, Monday, because I was resistant, because I kind of don't want to do courage this week. And I do. I do want to do courage this week, because I know when I'm able to pause and to face what I do choose, what I don't choose, I'm able to experience the expansion of who I am. I'm able to build my capacity. And that's what courage does. It builds your capacity. It's one of the things that builds your capacity. Your capacity to love, your capacity to create, your capacity to connect, your capacity to do so many of the things that we've been doing over the last 12 weeks. Compassion, kindness. Courage says that I will do it anyhow. And I'm going to be okay in some way. I will be. I will take the leap of faith. And I'm going to find out. Because better to jump into the unknown and know a little bit more than to stay in the narrow realm of your knowing, Courage. The experiment that I invite you to play with today, to wrangle today, to work with today. Write some of the things that you're resistant about. Make a list. I love a list. I love a list. List things that you're resistant in doing, being, or creating. List things that you have some fear around. I be careful about that, because when you move towards your fears, sometimes you can really jangle yourself up. And truly, in COVID times, challenged by choice, but, kind of gentler, more gently is wise. Make a list of some of those things. Take a look at where your heart is pulling you and you're resisting. Just look at them. Don't do anything. You don't have to do a damn thing with anything on your list right now. Just write it down. Take a look. I'm going to do that. And this is an ongoing thing. So this list, many of you probably already have this, but this list you will revisit and add to and subtract. It's a dynamic, organic list of what are you resisting? What are you afraid of? What are you anxious about? If you like this, If you're watching it on YouTube, there is a subscribe channel button. Hit it. Subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell if you want to be notified when uploads happen. If you're viewing this on Facebook Landia, I'm probably going to put a link to my Patreon page. Go visit my Patreon page. Take a look at the other experiments. There are 77 other experiments. They're all free. If you want to subscribe, $5 a month gets you started. It's a good deal. Thank you. We are nearing the end of this project, the first project, and there'll be a spring edition, which is so exciting. I don't know what exactly is going to happen. I'm going to figure that out in the next week or so of what the spring edition is going to look like. And I appreciate you hanging out with me. This made winter so much better for me. And I hope that you have found something in it too. Thank you. We do this thing together. We do this thing courageously together.